In this lesson, 7.1, we're going to talk about transformations and symmetry. And there are three basic kinds of transformations. There's a translation, which I call a slide. There's a reflection, which is kind of like looking in the mirror. And there's a rotation, which is when you spin something around a certain point. If the transformation results in an image that's congruent to the original, then that transformation is said to be a rigid transformation. That's called isometry. Otherwise, we call it a non-rigid transformation. On this first slide, what we notice is that we have a translation. Or in other words, what we see is that the blue triangle, the original one, has been translated or has slid a certain distance and is now the green triangle, or in other words, the image of it. This would be a rigid transformation, this translation, because the green triangle is congruent to the original blue. In this second slide that we see here, we notice that we have an example of a reflection. This line that's in the middle right here that you see would be like the mirror, and the original blue triangle is being reflected over the line to the green triangle, and the line of reflection is the perpendicular bisector of every segment that joins a point on the original figure and its image. For example, if I look at this point right here, going over to this point right here, what I notice is that the reflection pink dashed line is perpendicular to that blue segment connecting the two figures, and that this piece on the left side of the reflection line and this piece on the right side are exactly the same length, or in other words, distance from the reflection line. So this is an example of reflection, and that line of reflection, the pink dash one right now, is the perpendicular bisector of every segment joining a point in the original figure and its image. If I were to draw another one as an example, I could draw the one from the top of the triangle to the top of the triangle of the image, and again I would see that the pink line is perpendicular to, and that the two pieces that were created on either side were the same size. That's what that's saying. In our last slide in this lesson, we see an example of rotation. And this particular rotation is 90 degrees clockwise. So when you're spinning in this direction, this is called clockwise rotation. If you spin in the opposite direction, that's called counterclockwise. And the point of which it's spinning about would be the point where the triangles are joined right here. This is what we would call the axis of rotation, or maybe a point of rotation. And that would be a 90 degrees clockwise rotation.